Hello, today's going to be a short one. Just wanted to share a line of thoughts. Well, I was chatting with ChatGPT about something. Background, I'm working with a coworker, and our approaches to the work is just so different to the point where it feels like, of course, where it feels like he is neglecting what I think is important. And I'm sure the feeling is mutual because I think what's going on here is he is heavy TE, SI, I guess he's ESTJ, and I am INTP. And I mean, this is software development, so it just feels like an ESTJ approach just won't work. But of course, I'm biased. But let's work through this and see what I have to say about it. So, for anyone who wishes to know, yes, an INTP has TI, and the ESTJ has TE. And my realization was that TI manages complexity by turning it into a holistic story, and TE manages complexity by breaking it into steps to execute. So it feels almost like the instinctual first step for a TI DOM it feels like the instinctual first step for a TI DOM like me is when something seems complicated, then I immediately say to myself, it can't be that complicated. We're overcomplicating it. So I dive in deeper. I dive into the complexity to understand it completely so I can retell the story in a simpler way, in a step-by-step linear story that points out only the parts that are most important and leaves out all the extraneous details, right? Whereas for a TE, when something's complicated, they immediately say, it can't be that complicated. We just need to figure out what to do first. And they don't look at it. My thought is like they don't even look at it at all, and they instead say, okay, what's the first thing to do? And then they make that decision. And my perspective as a TI who has already gone through everything and seen, and I can tell a holistic story that explains everything. But the T will not listen because, of course, that's not action oriented. That's not the first step to do. And it just feels like they're going to choose something that is incomplete. And I want to speak up a lot. I want to speak up a lot more than I'm speaking up. But I don't know what to do. Anyways, let's continue down this thread and see what it has to say and see what I think about it. So, as it says here, yes, TI focuses on learning why and how underneath everything so that I can create a map that connects everything through understanding. And in my view, this is simpler. This is the simplest way to go about everything. The process dives straight into complexity to make order out of chaos, right? TE makes order out of chaos too, but they do it by saying, okay, we'll get to that later. Let's do this first. And my view on that is, I won't share my view on it. We'll go through this first, and then I'll talk about what I think I want to do for myself. So, yes, the difference is TI seeks to create a story or system that explains it all at once. And this is why when someone suggests something, I can immediately say, oh, that's not going to fit the story. Over here in step 6, that doesn't fit how this works, right? TE says, okay, we'll get to that step later. I just want to feel like I've accomplished this step 1. And to me, that's the wrong direction as a TI. I say, Oh, but you're not. You're taking that step out of context. Well, anyways, let's keep going. TI users uh, would first dive deep into the principles of building a bridge, and they create this theoretical model of how it all works, and that's what they take moving forward to build the bridge. The TE user would break it into phases of what to accomplish first, so that they can move forward in a organized manner to make sure that the bridge is built efficiently. um, what they're overlooking here is like why to do these things, but I guess that's why I'm here. But I feel that if I'm neglected here, it just won't work. That's my thought. Let's keep going. I think TE overcomplicates by creating divisions where there are none. In their action-oriented mindset, they don't even consider the thing they're doing at all. That's what I see. And what they're actually focused on doing is instead how to get it done. So like dividing the tasks and what to do first. And they do this too, which is they create departments and they hire people to take responsibility for things. And often, what we've seen in the world is it can overcomplicate a very simple task. This whole process and roles and the system can hide the fact that all we're doing is doing some one little thing, right? And TI simplifies by unifying. TE simplifies by dividing. And I feel as a TI that TE overcomplicates many things. TE might, this is a great example. Imagine solving a problem like improving traffic flow in a city. TE might divide the problem into multiple areas: traffic lights, road expansions, public transportation, and more. It would then create separate teams and plans for each category. We have all these things that we want to get done. Let's delegate the responsibilities. But from my perspective, from a TI perspective, this seems inefficient because it completely ignores the idea that there could be higher level root causes that are creating these ostensible problems. If we solve the root cause, probably all of this can go away, instead of trying to just address the surface problems. TE seeks practical results, and TI seeks a unifying system and vision. And yes, let's read this. In essence, TE's strength in structure and action can become its weakness if the structure overshadows the simplicity of the problem's essence. And that really does just talk to what's going on when I talk to my coworker. In my view, because we are not even looking at the system as a whole, I find we are addressing problems that aren't actually there, because there never was the step of understanding what we currently have. And I address this however I can, but heavily emphasized TE just won't listen to any amount of TI, and this is that sense that I feel happens with heavily emphasized TE, which is like this sense of a lot of action for no purpose, and it feels like a chicken running around with its head cut off, That's my immediate reaction, and I understand where TE is coming from, I understand where TE is coming from, but I can't help but feel that I will be able to do. I will ultimately do. I will ultimately accomplish it the way that they want, I just won't be able to communicate with them the way that they want. So, final conclusion about this. My experiment right now is finding out that if I go full on TI and I just give myself permission to do that, will that also work? Because I think it's been proven again and again in history that it'll also work. TE can do their thing. I'll let them do it. But my view is that the unifying approach of a TI DOM will also work. And it will create efficiency in ways that TE never could. Yeah. Little thought for today. See you tomorrow.